Lizzie. I'm back with more fun ingredients for teens, as we were talking about earlier. We're gonna start out. I have 3 different recipes for us tonight. I have a chocolate chip cookie in a mug, a blueberry muffin cake, whichever you prefer to call it, in a mug, and then I have a protein, a knockoff protein cookie in a mug. So we're gonna go ahead and get started. The first recipe we're gonna start with is the chocolate chip cookie, because who doesn't love chocolate chip cookies? So for this mug recipe, you're gonna have 2 tablespoons of melted butter. You'll have a tablespoon of brown sugar, a tablespoon of white granulated sugar, 1/4 of a teaspoon of baking powder, a little pinch of salt, a 1/4 of a teaspoon of vanilla, 3 tablespoons of any flour of your choice, and then a handful of chocolate chips. So I'm gonna need to melt this, but I just have 2 tablespoons of butter that I'm just gonna throw in the microwave here real quick. Yeah. I knew I was forgetting something. That's okay. I'm just gonna use my little tablespoon here. Alrighty, so I have 2 tablespoons of melted butter, and just to make this a little bit easier to stir, I just have this microwaveable bowl. So I'm just gonna go ahead and pour my butter into there. From there, I have 1 tablespoon of brown sugar already measured out, because I did not want to bring all this baking ingredients with me back here from CR. So I have my tablespoon of brown sugar, just gonna plop it right in there. Should probably grab a spoon too. Spoon, you're gonna need a spoon to stir things because we're gonna be proper tonight. And then I have a tablespoon of white granulated sugar, which I'm gonna measure out here. And it's okay if you overflow, because the trick to measuring in these is to wipe it off with the back of a knife. That way you have an equal measurement, so your cakes don't get weird. And then from there, we're gonna grab our baking powder. This is brought to you by Walmart. And we're just gonna do a 1/4 of a teaspoon of baking powder. Knock that right in there. And what am I looking for? Vanilla. We need vanilla. And a 1/4 of a teaspoon of vanilla. If you get a little extra vanilla extract in it, extra extract. Haha. That was a good one. Why aren't you laughing? They're laughing. My audience is laughing. I am so funny. All right, I'm just gonna go ahead and give all of this a stir real quick within the butter. Just make sure all the sugar gets dissolved. If you don't have a vanilla extract, it's okay to substitute with maple syrup. And if you don't have white granulated sugar on hand, it's okay to use 2 tablespoons of brown sugar, or vice versa. Brown sugar just gives cake a little bit, it just makes it a little bit more moist. So you're more than welcome to use either butter, or either sugar, not butter. Alrighty, and then from here, I have my all-purpose flour, brought to you by Target, even though the package isn't here. I'm gonna go ahead and scrape out 3 tablespoons. I could have mixed this in the mug, but nah, it's easier to show in a bowl. And we're already making a mess, but who doesn't make a mess when they're making chocolate chip cookies? We're just gonna go ahead and mix it all together until it gets that cookie dough-like consistency. So then now it looks like you just have basic cookie dough, no chocolate chips, no extra add-ins, nothing like that. So you're gonna take your mug. I love chocolate chip cookies and I love Minions, so this mug only made sense. And you're gonna go ahead and just, you can do that in the mug. So you're just gonna go ahead and plop this in. Just like that. And then I'm gonna go ahead and take my chocolate chips. Just a handful because I did not double this recipe, so it's gonna make a fairly small like mug cookie. So I'm just gonna go ahead and sprinkle those in. Give them a little stir. And we'll scoop it out for you, but there you have chocolate chip cookie dough, because who doesn't love cookie dough? And there's no eggs in this recipe, so this is free to eat cookie dough if you don't want to microwave it. So for all the parents out there who are like, salmonella, here is a free cookie dough recipe. Alrighty, I'm just gonna sprinkle a few more chocolate chips because I love chocolate chips. If my boyfriend watches this, he'll just laugh and go, she's crazy, because I will eat an entire bag of chocolate chips in one sitting. So then from there, we're gonna go ahead and microwave the mug with the mixture in it for about a minute to a minute and 15 seconds, just depending on how ooey gooey you like your cookie. So we're gonna go ahead and do that. Sure, that'll work. Alrighty, while that's cooking, I'm just gonna wash my utensils up here real quick. Alrighty, clean up my mess because it's not chocolate chip cookies if you don't make a mess. And I get yelled at if I don't clean up my mess, so. My dad always tells me if you make the mess, you clean it up, and if you make something, you do the dishes, because he knows how much I don't like dishes. I have to stand on my tippy toes for this microwave. Hot. All right, and so it doesn't rise too much because it's an individual serving, but from the inside of the mug, it looks a little weird, so I'm going to plop it out on a plate for you. It's not going to be in perfect form, because I have to scoop it out. It smells delicious. I think I don't like microwaving chocolate chips in the microwave, but I also love this recipe. Real hot. So to make it easier, you can butter your mug. You can like put a little oil in your mug just to have it come out a little bit easier. All right, and then since this is a deconstructed like chocolate chip cookie, but on the plate you can see here, it kind of looks weird because the chocolate chips are a little bit melted, but then again, it's a chocolate chip cookie. So then there you have a little chocolate chip cookie in a mug. It takes less than 5 minutes to make. So if you don't have any chocolate chip cookies on hand and you're craving one, this is definitely the good go-to recipe. Otherwise, if you're just looking for a little quick fix of cookie dough, this is safe from any raw egg. And that is the first recipe. And these recipes will also be posted online, so the recipe will be there for you. So let's just go over here. All right, so next on our list of recipes, we will be doing a blueberry mug cake, blueberry mug muffin, whichever you'd prefer to call it. So for this recipe, you'll have 4 tablespoons of flour of your choice, 1/4 of a teaspoon of baking powder, 2.5 teaspoons of sugar, 3 tablespoons of your milk of choice, 1/2 tablespoon of oil of choice, 1/4 of a teaspoon of vanilla, and just a handful of blueberries. So my blueberries have already been rinsed. Where did they go? In the fridge. They went in the fridge. All right, so my blueberries have already been rinsed and ready to go in this little mason jar. So we're gonna start out by combining some milk. I have Anderson Erickson fat-free milk. I'm not an alternative milk person, but that would also work as well. So I'm gonna go ahead and measure out. I don't need my measuring cup. I just need a tablespoon. Just go ahead and measure out 3 tablespoons of milk here. 2, 3. All right, and then after our milk, we're gonna combine 1/2 tablespoon of oil of choice. We're gonna eyeball it in our 1 tablespoon. So just 1/2 tablespoon of oil of choice. Here I have, brought to you by Fairway, we have corn oil because we are the corn state after all. So we're gonna do about 1/2 tablespoon of corn oil. Vegetable oil will work. I'm sure avocado oil will work. Any oil that trips your trigger, as long as it's not car oil, it'll work. Not good. No. Alrighty, and then our vanilla. If I can stop losing my noggin, we have another 1/4 of a teaspoon of vanilla. Again, you can, if you don't have vanilla on hand, you are more than welcome to use maple syrup. And if you don't have either on hand, Google, because I don't know anything else outside of that. So I'm just gonna go ahead and kind of help get that all together. So then now that we have our wet ingredients incorporated, we're gonna go ahead and start with our dry ingredients. So I'm gonna go ahead and go back to my flour. And for this recipe, it calls for 4 tablespoons of flour. So again, we're gonna do the back of the knife method to make sure we have an exact measurement each time. So we're gonna go ahead and do 4 tablespoons. That'll work. 4. Alrighty, and then from there, let me see, 1/4 of a tablespoon of baking powder. I'm gonna go ahead and just wipe this off so I'm not cross-contaminating. So 1/4 of a teaspoon of baking powder. Baking powder in there. Alrighty, and then 2.5 teaspoons of sugar. I'm gonna knock this one out here. So we want this one. We want our 1/2, not our 1/4. It just makes it faster. I have 2, and then 2.5 teaspoons of sugar right in there. Go ahead and give this all a stir. And again, you can make this in the mug, but just for showing purposes, I'm just making it in a bowl. You're gonna have what it looks more like muffin batter. That word sounded odd to me. Go ahead and mix this all up. And without the blueberries added to it, it looks like muffin batter, if you were here, I mean, it's pretty distinguishable, cookie dough versus brownie batter versus muffin batter versus cake batter. So this is looking like muffin batter to me. And then I have my blueberries, and I read this online and I've tried it and it does work. So I believe the internet this one time, but if you sprinkle like your chocolate chips or any sort of fruit that you're using within a dish, it helps them not sink all the way to the bottom. So I'm just gonna take some flour and just toss it in there with my blueberries here real quick. Just kind of give it a gentle shake. I don't want to bust the blueberries. And the blueberries are brought to you by Fairway. So I guess we have a mix of Walmart, Target, and Fairway today. I have powder all over me. So I'm just gonna go ahead and just sprinkle some blueberries in there and toss those together. It definitely smells like a blueberry muffin. I probably have about 1/4 of a cup of blueberries here with me right now. And I work at Scooters, but this mug is brought to you by Starbucks. It looks like a 4th of July cup. Sorry, Scooters, love you though. Go ahead and just pour this all right in there. Scooters is a coffee shop for those of you who don't know what Scooters is. Alrighty, I'm just gonna go ahead and sprinkle some more blueberries on top. So usually about a handful, but then again, kind of like the chocolate chip cookie, just sprinkle to your preference. So then there we have our blueberry muffin in a mug. It's kind of hard to see, but it's there.
Tilt this down.
Tilt it. So then like there we have our blueberry muffin in a mug, and we're gonna go ahead and put this in the microwave for roughly 1 minute to 1 minute and 15 seconds again. While that's cooking, I'm gonna clean my station up again. Alrighty, it's all ready to go. Go ahead and give that a minute and 30 seconds. So I have about 15 seconds to go just because it's not firming up like I'd like it to. Go ahead and get everything ready for the next recipe. So it definitely smells like blueberries in here. And with this recipe, what's nice is that you can trade out, like you can substitute fruit. So like strawberries would work, bananas would work. The cooking time will stay the same. It's just substituting out the fruits. But here we have, oh, it's a little hard to see, so I'm just gonna pop it on the plate. And again, you can butter or oil the mug to make it easier to come out. But that actually came out not that bad. So you can kind of see what the bottom looks like here. You can definitely tell it's like that muffin top goodness, and then on the inside is where all the yumminess is. So kind of like when you break open a muffin and all the gooey insides is in there. That's kind of what goes on here. You could enjoy this definitely with ice cream, whipped cream on top. The same goes for the chocolate chip cookie. That's another nice thing about doing these mug desserts is that it doesn't fill up the entire cup. So you can put on like a scoop of ice cream. You can do a little bit of whipped cream. You can do whatever your heart desires. So then lastly, what we're gonna do is a protein cookie in a mug. It's a recipe that I recently tried out and it's still kind of I'm still trying to get it right, but for now it's working. So for the protein cookie, you'll need 1 whole egg, 1 to 2 scoops of protein powder of your choice, unsweetened cocoa powder, 2 packets of stevia or 0-calorie sweetener. You can use regular sugar, but that kind of defeats the purpose of being like a healthier mug dessert. 1/4 cup of milk of your choice, 1 teaspoon of baking soda, and then 1 tablespoon of flour of your choice. So we're gonna start with the egg. And this entire recipe is brought to you by Fairway. Not amused? No. No, not. Dad's not feeling it tonight. It is a tough crowd tonight. So we have 1 egg. Throw it in there. I'm just gonna get a fork to beat this one. So I'm just gonna take a fork and just beat the egg here real quick before I add in the rest of the ingredients. So from there on out, I have 1 scoop of vanilla whey protein powder up in here. So I'm just gonna go ahead and dump that entire scoop of protein powder in there. You can also use 2 scoops, but I find that 1 is enough, personally for me at least. You have unsweetened cocoa powder. It's just kind of eyeball it. There's really not any recipe. I guess it depends like how much like chocolate you'd like in it. I'm just gonna go ahead and sprinkle. I probably had about 1/4 cup in here, but I didn't use all of that. So I'm just gonna kind of toss that together here real quick. Alrighty, and my 2 packs of Stevia's Sibling Trivia. I got these from work, so shout out to Scooters for coming in clutch because I ran out at my place. So I have 2 packets of Trivia. Again, any sort of sweetener or 0-calorie sweetener, low-calorie sweetener will work for this recipe. I have 1/4 cup of milk. Again, I choose to use fat-free milk because I'm not an alternative milk fan. 1/4 cup. A cup of milk. 1 teaspoon of baking soda, not powder, but soda. We got it. All right, so taking my 1/4 teaspoon, just gonna dip on in there, scrape it off on the top, 1/4 teaspoon in, and then 1 tablespoon of flour. Again, I just use all purpose, but any flour will work, almond flour, oat flour, tapioca, anything that you guys like. So go ahead and pop that in there. I'm gonna go ahead and stir this all around. You can always add in anything into this as well, like fruit. Dark chocolate's a good alternative or like a good healthy thing here. So, and it's definitely gonna look, it's gonna be extra soupy, extra runny. It's gonna be a little clumpy, so you wanna make sure you mix it, beat it really well together. Alrighty, so I'm gonna go ahead and use this bigger mug. It's my favorite mug and also my dad's favorite mug. So we compromised and we left it at dad's when I moved out for school. And then to answer for the how much is in the packets of sweetener, let's see. It doesn't necessarily say, I guess, how much is in the packets of sweetener. I guess it's just one serving size packet. I would say that these are probably roughly about 2 teaspoons is what Caitlin is telling me in one packet. So 2 teaspoons, so 4 teaspoons total if you're using a sweetener that comes right out of the bag or something like sugar. So we'll make sure to make note of that on the recipe. I'm gonna go ahead and give this just one more stir. Alrighty. Great, I think this is good to go. So I'm gonna pop this in the microwave again for about a minute, minute and a half, just to see how long it takes to get it nice and good. And for this protein cookie, I like to keep it straight with the recipe. But outside of that, you can pair it with ice cream if you'd like to keep it a low calorie like dessert. Halo Top pairs really well with it. Any of the low calorie ice creams. Otherwise, you can eat it with regular ice cream. I mean, whatever you'd like to do. I personally like the Halo Top cookies and cream with this particular recipe. That's my word tonight, particular. Go ahead and just pick this up here real quick. Yeah, they get huge. You have another plate?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I can reach it.
Oh my goodness, it did. Probably the egg.
Mm-hmm. Huh? No, I just don't want it to like overfill the cup. All right, so and then you'll see that this, it's gonna be pretty much the full mug, and this is one of like the bigger mugs. It's the perfect hot chocolate mug. But in the microwave, it grew up till about there or so. So that's why I kept opening and closing the door. But as you can see, it's ready to rock and roll. This one just slides right out of the mug, and it looks like a little jiggly wiggly. It's like awesome. I'm not even, it's too hot to touch, but it looks like you just like poured like Spam right out of the can or something, but it's not Spam, and it's 10 times tastier than that. Yeah, so you can enjoy this with low calorie ice cream or any ice cream for that matter, or just by itself. It's definitely, since it's a protein cookie, they are automatically more dense. So you're gonna see that it looks pretty dense in the middle, but I promise it's tasty. It's just healthy things look weird. So again, just to recap for that question, it's 2 teaspoons per packet of sweetener. We'll make sure to get that in the recipe. Otherwise, did anyone have any questions before the session is over?
Lizzie, how much flour was in that?
A tablespoon, just one.
One tablespoon. I didn't get that.